welcome you again back to UnRuffled Ladies. We are so excited once again this afternoon to come to you to chat with you and you chat with us. So we want to just welcome all of you to our Sunday evening live talk show. The Unruffled Ladies. We all know what the Unruffled Ladies mean. Just want to is to be confidence, at ease, and balance. I am Dr. Gina Ned, the host of the Unruffled Ladies. Of course, we have Valicia, which is one of the co-hosts, and Rosalind is a co-host of the Unruffled Ladies. So we just want to welcome you this evening. We pray that your day has been well. Now you just want to sit back and chat and learn. Have a good topic for you on today, talking about leveling up your leadership skills. Leveling
Awesome.
up your leadership skill. Hey, we are embracing a new year. Hey, it's almost here. This year have passed by so fast, and we pray and hope that we have given you some nuggets to even help you through this year. But getting ready for a new year, talking about leveling up your leadership skill, whether you know it or not, we all are leaders in some kind of fashion or form. But
Mm-hmm.
today we have we have a guest with us, Jazlynn Young, which is my oldest daughter last name Young. So we have her with us, a young lady, only 26 years old. Can you believe that? Only 26 years old, and known at a very, very, very early age, from what I understand, that she was a leader. And I think that is so awesome. There are so many people that just don't know who you are. And we have talked about that over knowing who you are. And that's what Unruffled Ladies is all about. It's a platform to give you the opportunity, first of all, to be transparent and to level up your skills, whatever that might be. Knowing who you are help you level up in who God created you to be. So we just want to thank Jazlynn for being with us today, and hope that you would just join in, chat with us. If you have any question, please subscribe to our YouTube as well. And if you have any question, please feel free, or you may have some answers, because as I said earlier, we all are leaders in some type of form. Hopefully today, just you that are a leader, to give you some information and some skills uh, to help you continues to move forward. I always say a great leader is a great listener. You know, a great leader never stop learning, and a great leader is always have a mentor that is just a little bit above where you are. I just want to kind of read talking about leadership skill, and it said leadership skills help encourage and organize others to reach or share their goals, and that's what we want to do today. We want to help you reach, and we want to help you. We want to give you some nuggets to maybe enhance your goals. Also, it said leadership is not just one skill, but it's a combination of seven different skills. And that's exactly what it is. Anytime that you are a leader, it's not just one thing, but you find yourself being a leader in so many things. And so before I go any further, we definitely once again want to welcome our guest today, Jazlynn. I want to give you a little bit of information about her. uh, I did mention that she's only 26 years old, and I just love that when I see young women that is on the move of doing
Mhm.
something, making a difference in life. So Felicia is just going to kind of give us a little bit more information about her background to let you know exactly who she are, for you to just to kind of tap in and knowing this young lady is on the move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, hello, everyone. We just want to just share some tidbits about her background. And she was born and raised in the heart of Birmingham, Alabama. Woohoo! That's my
Woo-hoo.
hometown too. And she is a visionary, and she's poised to revolutionize the healthcare industry. And from her earliest days, she exhibited an innate curiosity and determination that will propel her to heights of innovation and leadership. So she knew early on exactly what it is that she wanted to do. And then her journey began at the University of Alabama, where she pursued her passion for healthcare. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in healthcare management, and she demonstrated a knack for strategic thinking and deep understanding of the complexities of the healthcare system. Also, um, viewed for her thirst for knowledge and relentless ambition. She also pursued a dual master's degree at the
Wow.
University of Alabama in
Wow.
Birmingham.
That's awesome.
So that's awesome. Specializing in both healthcare administration and health informatics. And so this unique blend of expertise positioned her at the forefront of healthcare uh, at the forefront of healthcare's evolving landscape where technology and leadership intersect. And that's crucial in this day and time, um, especially with um, the technology part being on the cutting edge. So that's very, very important. She currently works as an administrative fellow at Cooper Green Mercy Health Services, a role that reflects her commitment to handle on learning, hands-on learning, and growth, collaborating closely with senior administrator. She's gaining she's gaining firsthand insights into the intricate workings of hospital management. And she has innovative ideas and strategic insights that's already making waves in the organization where she's
Awesome.
actively shaping the future of healthcare delivery. So she's making an impact where she is even right now
Yeah.
as an
Yeah.
administrative fellow at Cooper Green Hospital, where she is a resident. So I'm really, really
Yeah.
proud of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of sounds like that you're already taking advantage of just where you are.
Mhm.
I always say, wherever you are, uh, be the best you, just where
Mhm.
you are. So we just want to welcome you once again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Yes, welcome.
with us today.
Thank
We
you.
start, since you're such a only 26 years old, we want you to take us back to what was the beginning of you knowing that I want to be a leader in the healthcare industry.
Okay. So growing up, I am from like a small kind of community where we don't have adequate access to like healthcare. And so I learned early on that I had diabetes. And so when I found out I had diabetes, the first word that came to my mind was the word die. So I immediately started panicking, thinking, oh Lord, I'm about to die. I'm only 13 years old. I don't know what this is. And so I found out that it wasn't really as it's serious, but it wasn't as serious that I had in my head after like
Yeah,
research and like going to all these different doctor appointments. And so that kind of initiated my first interest within healthcare because I
yeah,
will always think during like doctor appointments, like, how are the bills getting paid? Who is making sure the power is still on? Like, how is that going on? Who's doing all the behind the scenes work? Because I knew I
yeah,
wanted to help people, but I didn't want to have to deal with patients directly as far as like clinical side because I don't like seeing people hurt, especially if I can't necessarily fix it. And
right.
so, um,
That's leader right there. You fix
yeah,
it.
so I got into a program where I got to shadow any executive that I wanted to shadow. And so I decided on shadowing a healthcare administrator. And so once I went on that day, I was able to walk around, attend meetings with her, meet all these different people. And then I realized once I left, like, this is the job for me. This is what I want to do. And so after
Now,
that,
tell me this, Jasmine. So, how old were you when you started shadowing this person?
14.
14.
Yes,
Wow,
ma'am.
14. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And so I got the chance to shadow her, and it was a woman also, so that's what made it kind of have like more of a direct impact because it was more so like, well, wow, I could do this if she's doing this, I could do it too, and
At
so
the
that
age of 14.
yes, ma'am. And so that's what kind of initiated my first impact into knowing that I wanted to move into healthcare leadership.
Wow. Wow. So that really tell me that you're not too young to be a leader.
Yes,
In other
ma'am.
words, leadership starts really and truly, if the truth be told, leadership can really start at an inference. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? What you really start out doing, and then, of course, you take your parents to help enhance that. So you was 14 years old, and you knew at the age of 14, I want to be uh, a healthcare leader,
Yes, ma'am.
That's awesome.
and
So
just go ahead.
I just wanted to interject here because, you know, uh, uh I think it goes back further than that because I think
I
I don't
think
know
Mike is
if
kind of going.
Jazlynn
Uh,
maybe recall.
uh,
Okay, can you hear me now?
at least it's kind of going in and out. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Um, I don't know if Jazlynn recalls, but I remember this story about uh her mom. I don't know if she remembers about how she when she was a little girl. I think it started way back then when she was a little girl, and how she and I'm saying this because she's my niece, but how she in her how they used to play.
Oh
Remember how
yeah.
you used to play? Can you share that story?
So, growing up, me and my brother, who is only 2 years younger than me, we would always have these multi-million dollar businesses. And so, I would always be like the
That
CEO, and he would either be like my assistant or he would be like the COO. And so, like, some of our business would be like we would have like a catering company, and we would just use our imagination, kind of scheduling events to work at. Or like, we used to actually pretend my mom, she was the person who really pushed towards my leadership skills as well, because we used to take food out of the kitchen and create like a menu. And so we used to have like our own restaurant, and my mom, she was able to support us, and she just let us keep playing, and we run the restaurant, and I was always the head chef. And my brother, he was to a sous chef. And then at one point it transitioned into us saying that it was a multi-million dollar wedding planning business. And so
wow,
yes, it
wow,
started early on. When I think back on it, it does. And that was
wow,
when we was probably like, if I was 8, he was like 6, and it continued for a long time before both of us decided, like, okay, let's stop playing now.
So, do
wow.
you actually have an interest in
Yes,
culinary
I
or
think the
cooking?
seed was planted.
Yes, so I wouldn't say like a professional interest within culinary, because I don't like to stand on my feet for too long. But I would say like it's like a personal hobby, and as a way to kind of relax from like my day, I would say that I do like culinary.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's awesome.
Wow, wow.
Yeah,
That
so
is
I
Well,
brought
awesome.
that about
You know,
because the
uh,
seed was planted early on from, even before she started shadowing. So it was just awesome to me when I found out how, she got involved in what she does now.
mhm.
that's
Wow,
awesome, Jasmine, I'm really impressed of all of your accomplishments, that you've made at such an early stage in your life. And this is an early stage. It really
yeah,
is. But that just proves that your determination, like we're talking about now, it didn't just start. It's been
Mhm.
there, it's been instilled, it's been engraved. And I truly believe, like Lady Gina was saying, we all have leadership um, skills and ability. Even when we don't see ourselves as leaders, we are being an influence in somebody's life. There are
yeah,
people watching us. There are things that we do, places that we go. We make a really big impact, whether we know it or not. And I truly believe that all of our God-given gifts and talents,
yeah,
that's what He gave them to us for. So we can make Him clear and visible to the world in our own leadership style. So
yeah.
I must say, you have an awesome leadership style. Yeah, I can tell that already. That's good. Yeah.
Awesome,
Hmm.
awesome. I tell you, I'm really impressed as well. You know, as you said, you and your brother started at the age of 8. You know, and 6 years old. Uh, in your mind, because it's all about your mindset.
Mhm.
What type of mindset you have. So even at that age, you was talking about $1 billion, being a millionaire, really.
Mhm.
At the age of 8 years old and at the age of 6 years old, and not only were you talking about it, but you were executing, you know, like you said, doing the food thing. So
Mhm.
it's just so powerful at such an early age, and I'm really hoping that there are some young people that is watching today that you'll be able to give them some nuggets on, you know, having a mindset of being a millionaire. The Bible tells us that God give us life and life more abundantly.
Mhm.
And so it starts with having a mindset. He said everything that you need pertaining to life is in you. In other words, it's in you. But sometimes because of life and because of well, I guess you can say different backgrounds, it causes some people to think that they don't have what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So just kind of talk to us to encourage that young woman that's out there to let her know, even now, she may be in her 50s or maybe in her 40s or maybe in her 60s,
That's
but
right.
there is something within her, you know,
Mhm.
that God have already put in her for her to be a millionaire,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So just kind of, like you just said, hey, you started at 8 years old making pretend,
Mhm.
and now you're actually doing what?
Yes, I would also say, even though it comes across as I started so young and I
Hmm.
started like my leadership skills early on, I would think that somebody in my age, if they wanted to become a leader now, don't kind of deter from who you are. Like, take the time to actually find your passion. Don't just, I know we have bills, but at the end of the day, if you're not happy at what you're doing, you're going to be miserable, and we only live for one life. So take some time to kind of really drill in on what do you like to do? What wakes you up in the morning? What do you dream of? What's your end goals that you want to take the time to really accomplish? And really, I would say the first step I took is writing things down. I had to get it out of my head so I could
Yeah.
physically see it and make the plan to kind of follow through on what exactly steps I need to go to end up in being like a head CEO of a hospital.
Mhm.
Wow. Habakkuk too, I think. Write the vision, make it plain.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yes, ma'am.
Jazlynn, how important is understanding and knowing your strengths and your weaknesses
I
as a
think
leader?
that's critical as a leader. You have to know like where you're very strong at, and you have to find out where are those spots and what are those kind of skills that you lack in. Because it's easy for us to always say what we're so strong in and what things we do best. But when you ask a person what are their weaknesses, that's kind of like the moment where you just like kind of deflate them like a balloon. They go, oh,
Yep.
and they have to think about it for a long time. So if you take
Mhm.
that self reflect time to kind of think about, okay, these are the things I do really well. But if you take that extra time to think about, okay, I know on the other hand, I procrastinate a little bit. Sometimes I don't meet deadlines. You write down something as, I might not be the best on time. You can figure out what you could do to kind of switch those negatives into a positive. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
like, that if you're a procrastinator, you need to give yourself extra time to do a task. And
That's
then also, if you know you're not good on time, you need to get up even earlier so it doesn't feel like you're in a rush, or even go to bed a little earlier. So even when you identify those strengths and your weaknesses, it eventually turns back into a strength because you're pouring into yourself. It
hmm
helps
Wow.
you it allow you to know who you are really and how to navigate between those kind of points where you fall short at. So like I know for me, I don't like to do nothing last minute. So I do every day. I write a list of what all are the tasks I need to do for today, and even if I don't kind of commit to finishing up that entire list, I give myself that same grace to understand, like, okay, I didn't finish everything, but it's a tomorrow. So it's
Hmm.
very important to know what are your strengths because you know how to operate really good, but at the same time, it's very important to know your weaknesses at the same time because in the end, those weaknesses can turn into strengths and help you move forward as a leader.
Wow. That's awesome. I like how you said pour back into yourself.
Hmm.
In other words,
Mhm.
figure out what you're missing, what you're not doing. Like you say, if you not good on time, well, okay, well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull back into myself. I'm gonna go to bed earlier so
Mhm.
I can get up earlier, so I can be on time. Because
Yeah.
integrity as a leader is crucial. You know, so I like how you said pour back into yourself.
Mhm.
You know, do you just express a little
Mhm.
bit more that how important that is? Because a lot of times, uh, you may be a leader, but because that you procrastinate, you're never on time. You don't
Mhm.
get the business that you want, or you don't get looked at.
Mhm.
You know, somebody say, you know what, she can bake very very well, but she's not on time.
Mhm.
So I like how you say pour back into yourself. You know, just kind of
Mhm.
express that just a little bit more, and maybe somebody out there listening. I do want to just encourage you, if you are online with us, let us know that you're on. If you have questions, please ask your questions. You may even have answers. Please let us know in the chat that you are with us. Let us know that you're looking, uh, that you're on. Please subscribe to our YouTube as well. This is good information, as I said earlier, that we're moving into a new year, and we don't want to go into another year procrastinating. I'm just going
Mhm.
to use that right now because we're kind of in that vein, being a procrastinator and not having integrity. A great leader have to have good integrity. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, go ahead.
I do want to thank everyone that is on the line with us today on Facebook Live. Once again, like and share. Um, our topic today is leveling our leadership skills. Correct, ladies? And it might seem like a very narrow topic, or one that might not hold so much of importance, but it really, really does. If you'll stop and recognize that, um, how effective or how you affect the people around you, and that your life is just not your own, but you have to hold yourself accountable for how you are leading other people. Are you inspiring them? Are you uplifting them? Is it leading them down a path of destruction? Are you leading them down a path um, of being, inspiring and helping them to be the best person that they can be, and encouraging them to be a leader as well? So, Jazz, what that leads me to now is, who was name a few people. Who was your role models? Who was your leadership mentors along the way, from childhood on up? Who were some of your mentors?
Well, not to sound like a cliche, I would say that my first role model was, of course, my mom. She showed me several times how do you kind of navigate through life when life tries to throw stick and stones at you. She showed me early on, like, if stuff doesn't go your way the first time, is other ways to kind of accomplish that several goals. So I learned hands on and through first experience with my mom how to kind of pivot through those moments where it seems like everything is just coming at you at once.
Yeah.
I would say, kind of like from a leadership kind of perspective, I had a mentor called, well, her name is Armika Berkeley. And when I was first at Cooper Green, she was the senior administrator there. And I got to work hands on with her. And it wasn't just like a regular kind of like employee kind of manager kind of relationship. It was more so she cared about my likes. She cared about what I was interested in within healthcare. She cared about making sure that my overall path at Cooper Green aligned with who I am, and it made sure that my journey through Cooper Green was tailored to overall myself. She really poured into me also because she let me know hands on, like, okay, you're a woman, so everything is not going to always be, open to you or available to you, but who you are as a person is what's going to make it open to you and available to you. So I got to kind of have like those kind of come to Jesus moments with her, and we was able to kind of just talk. Like, if something wasn't going my way, I was able to talk to her, and she just gave me like honest advice, and she helped kind of mold me into being more so professional as far as like being an administrator. I got to learn hands on in situations where people might not believe your overall goals that you want to accomplish, or they might not believe in what you want to do. She taught me and kind of molded me into learning how to push myself and how to gain those kind of personal wins for me and cheer myself on.
Wow.
That's how to cheer yourself on. And it's
Hmm.
something else that you just said a few minutes ago. Other people may not believe in you, but you yourself,
Hmm.
you because that you believe in you, you believe in who you are the one
Hmm.
that makes you, not other people.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Mm,
Wow.
that's good. That's good. That's good.
Felicia, I know you said you had a lot of questions that you want to ask, but you're not asking those questions.
Well, the question that I had was, as a leader, I know that um, from time to time you have to, or you're called on to implement change.
Hmm.
And I know as a leader, you have to be willing to embrace change. So,
Hmm.
how do you feel the best way to implement change as a leader?
That's
So,
good.
as a leader, I think the best way to implement change is to first talk to everybody that is going to be involved. I think as a leader, you need to make sure you're not just thinking it from one perspective and you're not just thinking it from your own way of thinking. You need to involve several people that it also affects. Because, like, for example, at work, we have several policies and procedures that we have in place, but if we only take in consideration one department, every other department that it affects would eventually fail. So as a leader, you have to bring in everybody to the table. You have to think about, okay, if I bring in this certain, source or resource to the facility, how is it going to affect the clerks? How is it going to affect the doctors? How is that
Yeah.
going to affect billing? So you have to think about it from like a global kind of aspect and not just one person. You have to
Well,
think about it, okay, we all a tree building up and working together. We need to first start on the roots before we can kind of implement change and kind of build that tree out or grow that tree out.
yeah. Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
We're
That's
talking
And what's
uh,
about
been your greatest challenge?
Hmm.
we're talking about leveling up your skills. That
Hmm.
is our topic for today. Leveling up your skills in leadership. In other words, you're already a leader, but these are just some things to take you to another place in leadership. So
mhm.
I pray that you're really taking some nuggets, writing down some things, as Jazlynn just kind of throw out a few things. I like how she just said it's more than you that's included. Yes, I am a leader. I am a CEO, but in order for my whole company to work properly, you have to involve other people in part of that, making changes or whatever that might be. Yeah. Sorry that I cut you off, Valicia. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just asking what was your greatest challenge, or what has been your greatest challenge when you had to implement change, what was your greatest challenge?
I would say my greatest challenge is a combination between my age, and that's because, you have to tell people that has been at an organization for 10, 20, 30 years on how we about to change something, and they looking at you like you a chicken with your head cut off, like, excuse me. So I would say that's been my one of my biggest challenges. And then on the other side of the spectrum, it's also those employees who have been there for 10, 20, and 30 years, and they just like, well, we've been doing this for so long and it's working for us. Why do we have to change it? And
Yeah.
so it's a situation where you have to show people what's our overall goal. This is what we're not meeting right now, and this is what we need to change in order to meet that goal. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like that kind of following or like that support from other people that you may not have at times. And so I would say
Mm,
that's my biggest challenge, or that has been my biggest challenge.
mm,
I have a comment from one of our viewers. She asks, do you have a lot of pushback because of your age?
I do. It's a lot of pushback because of my age and my voice. A lot of people at work, they call me Minnie Mouse because my voice is so soft and petite. But at the same time, they know my voice, it naturally goes up and it goes down. So they know when it's up, it's like, oh, okay, she's pleasant, It's just good morning, salutations. But when it goes down, I mean, we're talking about business. This is what we about to do. I don't need no, extra talking. We just have to do it, and we're gonna do it right now. So I would say I get a lot of pushback from my age because again, people just like, you only 26. What you gonna tell me for? What you gonna tell me about this? So I just have to constantly kind of prove myself to others and again myself because at the end of the day, it starts with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. This
Yeah.
is
And you know what? Being confidence in yourself too. I can see that especially at your age, you have to be confident in who you are and
Mm-hmm.
not allow maybe older people like me that's been in this thing forever that I think I know it all. There's a lot of older people think that, girl, you just a baby, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yes, it
and
is.
not realizing, you know, it doesn't matter how old you are. What matter is who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and sound like that you are very confident in who you are.
Yes, man. One of the tactics to this day that I do when I walk into a room where I kind of feel myself having self doubt, I do like a breathe in and breathing out technique. So I breathe in confidence and then I breathe out self doubt. I breathe in
Wow.
perseverance and I breathe out negativity. So I do that like 3 times and then I walk into like a meeting or I walk into a room and then it's just like it's like I get energized and the real like Jazlynn just like comes to life. So I do
Yeah.
have those moments where I may fall short, but I have like kind of tactics or activities that I do to kind of like give my reminder like, hey, you know who you are. This is what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was
Yeah.
going to ask that question, what were the things that keep you focused and motivated? So that's great.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I would also say what motivates me is my 2 nieces. They are literally like my shadows a lot of times. So I know for a fact that what I'm doing is not only for me, but it's for them as well.
So explain to us, Jasmine, exactly what you do.
Okay, so my role at Cooper Green it is very like project based. So I report directly to like the administrator. So throughout the departments within the whole clinic, it's different projects that we might have, but we might not have like the exact manpower to fulfill that project. So like one of
Hmm.
my projects I've been working on is establishing a program called Uber Health. And so it's kind of like the traditional Uber that comes and pick you up and you might go to a restaurant or a friend's house. Well, Uber
Uh-huh.
Health picks up patients directly from their house and bring them to the clinic, and then they attend their appointment, and then we send them back home through Uber Health. Because at Cooper Green, we do experience patients having a lot of transportation issues. So that's
Uh-huh.
like an example of the projects I work on. Or like I work hands on with the doctors, kind of create manuals for them as far as like how to send referrals for patients. I've also worked on different committees as well. I worked on our holidays committee. I worked on our employee led committee. So those two committees are specifically for our employees for different holidays we celebrate. And then we also create like different strategic plans on how we can kind of have our employees be a little bit happier and motivated for the day. And then I also work on our diversity council committee. So I talk about like ways that we can bring in different individuals that might not look like me or might not look like the next person, how we could also embrace diversity among the building within itself. So that's kind
Hmm.
of the short version of what all I do.
So really and truly, it's very important to have flexibility in what
Yes.
you're doing. You got to have a mindset that wherever I'm needed because of my
Mm-hmm.
skill, I'm flexible.
Yes.
So I think a great leader has to be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Because you always got to put out fire and you got to start a fire. So flexibility is very, very important, right?
Yes, and yeah.
Yeah.
um
Questions.
I wanted to start out by saying, Jazz, I'm looking at you, I'm listening to you, and um you say you're 26. I believe that. And but I'm also hearing and getting familiar with a woman you haven't met yet. And that woman is Jazlynn at 36. And if you're this dynamic now, I can't imagine how dynamic you're going to be at 36. And the reason why I say a woman you haven't met yet, because it's going to take more life experiences and engages and trials and whatever to form that woman. She's not
Mhm.
developed yet. She's not here yet. You don't know her. But I'm telling you right now, I'm introducing you to her. She's fabulous. She's quite dynamic, really. And I just wanted to ask you, what is one of the most dangerous behaviors or traits uh, that you could have, that not just you but any leader, that will derail them? What do you think is one of the most dangerous behaviors or traits that will derail a leader or cause them to be ineffective to the people around them?
I think one behavior that is very ineffective is closed thinking. If you always thinking that what you're doing or what you think or how you say something is always right, you could
Mm,
definitely be ineffective, because what I think is not going to be the same thing that you think, and the way I think is not going to always be the same way that the next person thinks. So closed thinking would be a very ineffective behavior, along with close listening. Because if you're not listening to nobody, you are not going to make it pretty far, because we're all humans, we all make mistakes. And so to hear the next person's kind of perspective and their input can lead you to not making not as near the mistakes that you would have if you didn't listen to nobody. You have to have open mindedness. You have to realize, like, at the end of the day, you need to self reflect some, because if you're not willing to look at yourself first, it's gonna be always hard for you to think about what could I've done differently in that situation. You're gonna always think, well, oh, they're picking on me because I'm a woman. Oh, they're picking on me because I have long hair, or because I have glasses on. It's gonna always lead to no accountability on your part. And so as a leader, you have to have accountability. You have to have those moments where you kind of click and be like, oh, you know what? That was my bad. I slipped up on that. I could have done something differently. Or even in your personal life, as like an everyday leader, you could realize and say, oh, I could have texted her early and told her that we couldn't go to the movies at this time. You have to
Yeah.
really think about self accountability and taking that time to reflect on yourself and who you are. I kind of keep mentioning who you are because it's a really big deal when it comes to being a leader, because you
Yeah.
have to know exactly how to communicate. And with it being so many people in the world, people communicate so many different ways. So if I tell one person, like, oh, we leaving at 3, that tone and that aggression could be perceived as so many different ways to so many different people. So if you
Yeah.
have open mindedness and you have open thinking, you can realize, like, oh, I don't need to do that no more, or maybe I need to say something differently.
Mhm.
It's that time for you to kind of go back and realize, like, what could I have done different in that situation?
Awesome. 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 I like that how you
Mm-hmm.
said being open minded. When
Mm-hmm.
you're open minded, just as you just already said, you you are not so close minded to think, hey, what I think is that's what it's going to be. But
Mm-hmm.
in order to have good leadership skills, you got to be open minded. That's very important. You got to be open. Not to say that you're going to accept everything that
Mm-hmm.
somebody else is say, but if you're open minded, you are willing to listen. And I think I mentioned that first when we first came on today. A great leader is a great listener. You have to be a great listener in order to be a great leader, because somebody else knows something that you don't know, or their thoughts is more important for that moment than what you're thinking. So a great leader is going to always have that open mindset to maybe what I'm thinking right now is a good thought, but it may not be for this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm
mhm.
willing to listen to what you got to say in order to keep this, us operating and moving forward for the now. That's so good, so important.
Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
is. It is. It really, really is. This is great. Like Lady Gina said, I hope y'all are taking notes, that you're sharing the video today, and liking. Please, if you have any questions, make sure and put them in the comments. We are monitoring that. Um, we have Miss Jazlynn Young with us today in leveling up your leadership skills. And so far, she's led us down some mindful journeys that will make us think how we can do that ourselves, level up our skills. You know, even for me, being a little bit older than Jazlynn, she's already mentioned some things that I've taken notes on, you know, that I'm able to use. So we never can get too old, too big, have too great of a title that we don't have room for growth, right? Or room to improve ourselves. And just keep in mind that improving ourselves is just not for us. It's just not for us. Our life is not our own, you know. So Jazlynn, I do have another question, and it has to do with, it's not a trick question because I already have my own take on it. Okay. So what does it mean to take one for the team?
Mm-hmm.
And would you do it if you are not? Why would you or why would you not take one for the team? And what does it mean taking one for the team?
So I think the overall meaning of taking one for the team means that you're okay with going without for a little bit for like the greater good of everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I know personally I take one for the team all the time because my family, we're really close. So if I need to go without for a little bit, that's fine for me. Or if I need to, like, pick up one of my nieces from daycare or school, that's fine with me. I sit in a little traffic just to pick them up. I fully believe in like teamwork, so I think that taking one from the team is fine. I take one for the team if it's better for everybody else. I don't just take one for the team if it just like works for just one person, or I don't take one for the team as well if I know, oh, if I do this one thing, I'm going to benefit later from that. Like, I don't do it for that mindset. I take one for the team to make sure that everybody's good in the long run. I
Yeah.
believe that in life we should work together so we can all run across that finish line in the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, awesome. Well said.
Good.
Well said. Well
Uh,
said. How important it is to be honest as a leader.
Hmm.
You know, as a leader, we know that we live in a day now that we feel I just don't trust anybody. I can't trust anybody. So, but as leaders, you know, even in our government right now, you know, we kind of up in the air because of honesty, not being honest. So,
Hmm.
how important it is as a leader to have to honesty.
I think as a leader, that is one of the most important things you need to be, because once you lose a person's trust, you can rarely get it back.
Yeah,
Now, once you lost a person's trust, they're gonna always side on you. They're gonna always think about, oh, do they have ulterior motives? I
yeah,
think honesty at the end of the day is not easy to be honest, but it's what's best is to be honest, because at the end of the day, when you're honest, people can move forward with you knowing, okay, I got their back and they got my back. If you
yeah,
always have to always think about, oh, are they telling me the truth or are they lying to me? That
yeah,
makes the situation so much harder, and you have to go back and you have to think about it so much, and then everybody really can't trust nobody, and you can't really move forward because everybody has their own kind of ulterior motive, because they think about, oh, well, is that person telling me the truth? Well, I'm not going to tell this person the truth because I know they're not telling me the truth. So when
yeah,
you're truthful as a leader, you do have to stand up sometimes and have like those hard conversations, or you might have to tell somebody something that they might not want to hear. But as a leader, if you're honest and you just telling everything how it is and putting it all on the table, everybody can kind of give input and they can really alter and move towards kind of perfecting that.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And I think as a leader, and if you, cause I know on your resume you're talking about being the CEO of a hospital,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know, and honesty comes with when you're honest, is also will help you keep good, strong leaders behind you.
Hmm.
You know, on your team, in other words. You know,
Hmm.
but whenever you're dishonest, you're always gonna have that swinging door. You know, because people just don't trust you. Yeah, yeah.
So
Pastor, do
Jazz,
you have any more questions?
Just one more important one, I believe, is that how would you say is the best way leaders can support other leaders?
Mhm. I think leaders can support other leaders through like professional development, really through like book discussions, because it's several books that are out there for leaders that can really define your leadership skill, your overall leadership structure, how you could better yourself as a leader. And so I think leaders can help each other also through like shadowing. So like, spending time with each other, thinking about like how can I change myself? What do I need to change? Like in your position, what are you good at? What do you see good as far as like results? What do you find yourself short in getting short in, or what do you find yourself lacking in? I
Yeah,
think also just having like those open conversations, like, hey, I'm a leader, but this is not going good. This is not going good. I've tried doing this,
Yeah.
but it's just not working for me. So having like that open door kind of policy, to just talking to other fellow leaders to kind of see from their perspectives, what have they experienced and what are they going through. I mean, you
yeah,
can learn kind of from a collaborative kind of effort.
yeah.
That's awesome. Jazlynn, did you take a psychology class?
I did, but it was like years ago in undergrad. So it had to be like around 2015. I took a psychology class, but it was just like the bare minimum, like intro level class. A lot of like my social classes that I got was within my master's when I was getting it in healthcare administration. You have to take several courses on overall leadership. You also have to take courses on community, and you also have to take courses on like retention, employee retention. And so it teaches you not to just kind of think about who you are, but to think about how who you are will affect others as well. So
Mm-hmm.
um, in school, it was a mix between undergrad and my master courses, and also reading as well. I
Okay.
used to like reading a lot, but I have introduced it back now. So like I read different books, such as one book that's really good. It's called Good to Greater, and it gives you
Good to
different
greater.
stories. Yes, ma'am. It gives you different stories from like leaders, kind of like what they went through when they went through like company changes, and how did they get that pushback, how did they work through the pushback, and where they are now. So it's called Good to Great. That's what it's called, Good to Great.
Okay.
It's a really good book. If you want to learn exactly kind of hands on what do leaders such as they discuss a CEO that used to work for Walgreens within the book. So it's not just like tiny kind of companies or communities that they talk about. They talk about those big corporations that went through all these troubles of changing leaders and changing their leadership structure and changing like policies within their organization, and how did they move forward to kind of become a greater leader.
Wow.
Uh, Jazlynn, what would you say to any young man or woman today listening that might see this video, or that we may talk to, outside of this video? What would you say to them if um they're not a CEO, they haven't taken any college courses, um they don't see themselves, nor have they been in any type of leadership role? What would you say to that young man or woman who obviously in life has taken lower or lesser challenges in life because they don't really see themselves as a leader? You understand where I'm going? What
Yes.
would you say to those young people today?
So I would say to those young people to really take some time to figure out what do they want to do. Don't think about what the next person think you should do, or what do you do to, make your mom or your dad look good. Just take some
Yeah,
time to figure out what do you want to do. I would also say to write it down. If you always having to think about everything, life is going to happen at different times, and you're going to eventually forget about it. And
yeah,
once you write it down, you need to make it to where you can say, okay, I want to open up a car wash. You need to now kind of go back and make those many steps that you need to accomplish in order to like open up that car wash. Yeah, I would
yeah,
also say you need to have humility. Like go throughout the whole process being humble. Because if you go throughout the process being humble, then once you make it, you like real arrogant and cocky, you don't get knocked down really quick.
That's
So
Yeah.
good.
never to forget to be humble with throughout the whole process.
I
And
like
also
that.
just give yourself grace because we go through life, you're gonna make some mistakes, you're gonna fall short, but at the end of the day, it's all about how you come back from it. It's not about like, oh, I failed 3 times. It's not about that. It's okay, I failed 3 times, but on the fourth time I got up and I made it that time. So
Yeah.
don't feel like, you just have to do just this perfect image of, oh, I'm a leader. Like, no, everybody is a leader within their own kind of aspects, their own kind of ways. You might not be the overall leader on paper necessarily, but you are a leader within your position. And eventually, when your time comes, you're going to be ready for it because you didn't take the short route. You worked hard for it. You wrote down your plan. Now you're going throughout the whole process being humble. You know what it's like falling down, but you're getting up. And it's all about that mindset of, you know, oh, I was knocked down, but I got back up. Even though
Yeah.
things might not be going your way, it's all about how you think about it. Because if you're like, for example, if you're in the car driving to work and you just like, oh, it's so much traffic, I'm gonna be 5 minutes late. You need to think about it's a reason why there's traffic. It's something
Yeah.
that you don't need to see or something you don't need to be involved in, that traffic is there holding you back for a reason. So in every negative kind of thing you see in your life, turn it to a positive flip.
Turn it
Like,
to a
yes,
pot.
your
Yeah.
alarm didn't go off this morning, but you're woke. Yes, yes, you forgot to exercise today, but you exercise tomorrow. So just anything that's negative that pop up, think of it and flip it as a positive because in the end, it's
Wow.
gonna be your mindset that helps you get through all those trials and tribulations that life will throw at you.
You know what, Jazlynn? I'm beginning to get a sneaky suspicion that you've been groomed for this from the beginning. I'm beginning not to give you all the credit. I think there was
Yes,
some,
man.
and
I
I'm
had some
just,
help
Yeah.
along the way.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying you
Yes.
deserve all the credit. You've done a lot of work. I'm just saying that I'm saying this how important it is to have a supportive family, to
Yes.
Yeah.
have people that are in your corner who's going to support whatever you choose to do in life, whether they understand your choices or not, you
Hmm.
know. So I think it's awesome. Our time is running out, but I'm so glad that you was able to be here with us today. And I hope I don't have to hope, I will be around with Auntie Valicia, in the next 5-10 years, so I could meet that dynamic woman and
Yes.
and
Yes.
and be
Yes.
around to see and hear her.
Yes. 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 I am in
Yeah.
total agreement with Rosalind. I love how you say it's your mindset. I also like how you said that don't be arrogant. How you say that? In other words, thinking that you all that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Keep a humble spirit.
That's
That's
good.
very very important. No matter what level that you are on in life, always keep a humble spirit. Not thinking that you more and better than anybody else, and you will always grow. You will always constantly grow when you keep that humble spirit. That hey, yes, God got me up here, but I don't think myself higher than anyone else. In other words,
Hmm.
so I like that. Matter of fact, I just told my grandson that when he went off to college this time, do it for you. Do what set your goal for you, and not to say that you're gonna uh, succeed in all of them, but know how to take your negative and make something positive out of it. Okay, this didn't work. So guess what? It don't mean that I'm a failure because this didn't work. What I'm gonna do with that thing that didn't work, I'm gonna take from it what did work and change and tweak a little, a couple of things
Hmm.
and make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just gonna throw in the towel. One of the things that you said, write things down, write it down. Even
Hmm.
those things that didn't work, sometimes you have to write that down as well to see, okay, this didn't work, but guess what? I can take this from that and make this work. So yeah, awesome. I think I kind
Yeah.
of cut you, Felicia. Go ahead.
Yeah, we had another question from a viewer, and I believe they're asking, how do you address someone that don't want to follow the plan?
Say it again. You kind of got cut off. How do you what? What was the question?
How do you address someone? I think that's the question. How do you how do you address someone that don't want to follow the plan?
So when you have somebody that don't want to follow the plan, I would say just take some time to meet with them on the side about the overall goal we're trying to achieve. I know you have like those moments where you can't really give out that much information about like the overall plan that you're trying to kind of map out, but try to give a few nuggets about why we're changing it. Give the people the purpose of why we're changing it. Like for example, at Cooper Green, we have to really make a lot of changes geared towards like our patient experience and patient safety and quality. So what we find out that's most effective for our employees when we're making a change is we show them what we're doing now. We show them what we show them how we used to do it. We show them what we're doing now, and we show them what we're going to do. And then we show them kind of indirectly, hey, this is what y'all doing that's not right. This is what, we need to move away from. But when you have like those few kind of bad apples in the bunch, you have to pull
That's
them to the
yeah.
side and kind of tell them like, hey, we are trying to accomplish this goal. You're not here to really follow along. You don't have a choice necessarily. You're required to follow along. But if it's like in a personal kind of situation where you don't have like that kind of support, I would honestly say just be open about it and just say, this is what I'm trying to do. I need your support. But if I don't have your support, we're going to move along. So at the end of the day, it's not about just listening to one person's kind of perspective. Yes, you listen to it, but you don't get stuck in it. You have to move forward from it. You
Mhm.
have to say, thank you for your consideration, or, I thank you that you gave me your insight. I didn't think about that before. Okay, I take that into consideration, but we're gonna keep moving. You have to learn how to keep it moving. You can't be stuck or stagnant into one place, because you might be stagnant in one place, but life is still going, the clock is still moving, and you're gonna look up and it's gonna be months and years later, and you're gonna be still stuck in that same place because you listen to the naysayers and you listen to what they had to say instead of just moving within your own purpose.
hmm that is so good because you know what? You're gonna always have that person that no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, they gonna still try. They gonna still be that negative person.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you say, I thank you for your input. I thank you for whatever that might be. But we have to keep moving. And
Mm-hmm.
like you say, sometimes you may have to pull that person to the side and just let them know, okay, I understand, blah blah blah. But guess what? We must keep moving forward. But at the same time, you still may have that person that's still pulling back.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be in a place where you know how far to go with that person.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, okay, hey, I understand you, blah blah blah, but we have to keep moving because you're gonna always have that one person that no matter what you do, they still have that negative pullback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So
That
I'm
viewer
sure that you
said
run. Go ahead.
that viewer said thanks.
You welcome.
Yeah, because you're gonna always have that person that no matter what you do, it's just a negative person, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you may have to get rid of that person because that one person, that one bad apple can cause other people to start drifting and start thinking in a negative way.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm sure that you probably come across that a lot,
Yes.
Jazlynn, where you have that one person that always got something negative to say or pull back. And sometimes, like you say, after you try to work with that person so long, you may have to just kind of get rid of that person.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Any more comments? I know our time is running out. Our whole goal is with the Unruffled Ladies. One of the goals is growing you from pain to power. From we all have some power in us, growing you from
Yeah.
pain to power. And so, anytime that you're a leader as well, there's some pain comes along with it sometimes. But guess what? Because that you are that great leader, you know how to rise above the pain and keep it moving. Yeah. Any more questions? Do we have any more questions before we go? Any more questions from either one of you, Rosalind or Felicia? Any more questions?
Oh, I just had one last question. She kind of touched on it though a little. And my question was, if in the time that you've ever experienced failure, how did you recover from it?
So, in the time that I have experienced failure, the first thing I always give myself is just that time to kind of reflect and kind of not really suck in it or really just sit in it. I take a second to kind of think, like, okay, this is what really happened. Wow. Like, I just think about it for a little bit, but then once I get it out of my head, and that might be a day or two, but that's just my personal kind of my personal, I guess, preference rather. But once I get it out of my head, then it's just like, okay, well, moving forward, what we gonna do now? So the way that I recover from failure is that I look at it from all different perspectives, think about like, what could I have done differently, how the situation could have turned differently. But I don't just think about like, oh, like they did me wrong, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. I just look at it from all perspectives and I move forward from it. And when I go into like those different kind of situations later on in life, I take what I've learned from those specific like failures and I've learned how to not have that turn into a failure. I flip it around kind of. I
Yeah,
take what I learned from that situation and I use it for my greater good kind of. I just kind of move by faith. I think of more so what can I do with this now that it's over? What can I do with it? Because,
Yeah.
for example, I had a position at a well-known hospital. They, brought me in, signed a contract. It was all official. But then maybe like 6 months into it, they eliminated my position out of nowhere. And I was very hurt because, I was like, they asked me to be here. This is where I was supposed to be at. But what I've learned from it was that I wasn't meant to be there. I was actually meant to be at Cooper Green. I had a greater impact I could make on the people of Birmingham and the Jefferson County residents being at Cooper Green. So yes, I
yeah.
did lose my position at this big organization, and it hurt me so bad because I took it personally, y'all. I was like, I did really good there. I was, that was me. So I took what I did at the organization and I implemented at Cooper Green, and now we're succeeding even more. Our patients' experience have gotten greater. I've gotten several compliments back on like the work that I do, and so I had to realize that in that situation, yes, I failed, but God had something better for me. He knew I
Yeah.
didn't need to be there at the moment. He knew that it was only short lived, and I had somewhere else better that I knew was coming for me, and I knew that I was going to be happier at Cooper Green. So that would be kind of like an example of kind of what I do to kind of recover. I use a famous quote from Beyonce. She said, "When you're going through heartbreak or failure, give yourself a full 24 hours to fully heal from it, or fully, take all your feelings out of it. And then once that 24 hours is done, now turn into Sasha Fierce." So from any of my failures, I take that whole 24 hours to get it all out. If I need to cry, I do that. If I need to, fully relax from the situation, I do that. But then that next 24 hours, oh, I'm back to being Sasha Fierce and I move forward from
Awesome,
That is
awesome.
awesome.
Once again, Jazlynn, thank you so much for being with us today. You have poured out and give us so much good information on being to level up our leadership skill. I must say, to
Thank
level
you.
up our leadership skill. As I said earlier, we all a leader in some type of way, and so I like what you just said. You know, when you think that you have failed, give it 24 hours. Think about it, and then move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are not a failure. You are not a failure, no matter what goes on in life. Life brings on some things that we sometimes that we don't even expect. Like you said with the job, you just thought, "Yay!"
Yeah.
But and you had to do a little crying and a little
Mm-hmm.
wiping the nose and all that good stuff, and then come to find out, hey, where you are now is really where you're supposed to be. So the whole thing is learning how to bounce back, learning how to bounce back, and that's what UnRuffled Ladies is all about. Is being confident, at ease, and at balance. Learning how to balance. And so thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for
We hope,
having
yes, matter of fact, we've been trying to have her on for the last month or so. And it went from one thing, I think you got sick and
me.
we had to cancel it out and choose someone else at the time. But this was your time.
Mhm.
This was your time. So learning how to bounce back.
Mhm.
So once again, thank you, all the viewers that was on with us today. We want to just thank you. Please like and share. Please like and share. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And we are embarking on a new year. We want to make sure that we close this year out properly. Everything that you have supposed to be doing or have done within 2023, make sure you do that so you can walk into your new year with a clear what I want to say,
A clean
an
slate.
open door.
Good purpose in mind.
Yeah, a clean slate with an open door. So once again, thank you. Join us again on the fourth Sunday. Is it
Which
the
is
fourth?
the 26th.
What is the 20th? That's right after Thanksgiving, right?
The
After
26th.
Thanksgiving. So please join. We don't know who our guest's going to be at this moment, but we are sure that we will have somebody that is going to give you some good information for 2024. So once again,
All
thank
right.
you, Jack, and y'all have a great evening.
Bye, Jazlynn. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye. Bye-bye.